Ooh, we timed that out good, but I think yours was more powerful than mine.
Well, it's like a 20-gallon can. It's the biggest can I've ever seen.
It is Brewsday Tuesday, round deuce over here in
the Jennifer Lopez
Studio
of cans.
And we got the guys from Troegs on hand. We're swapping mics now, and now we got Jason Kidwell, who's the sales director over at Troegs. How you doing, Jason?
Doing great. How are you?
So we can't believe anything he says, right? He's the sales director.
Yeah, he's here to sell the beer, right?
Yeah. He's going to bring us 40 kegs.
What I'll tell you now will be different in a half an hour.
But it won't be your fault.
No,
it's the production guy's fault.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
always.
So are these crowlers?
They are crowlers. So we just installed these in the brewery, I think in early summer, back in June. We have two sizes for takeout. We've got our growlers, which are 64 ounces, and we've got the crowlers, which are 32. And then, of course, you can buy beer
Crowlers
in our
and growlers.
That's
we'll do
correct.
that on a show. My friend he sells the equipment and everything out of Northwest America, Oregon somewhere.
Okay.
He's a big into this. They've got 28 stores where they do this.
Well, real quick before we start delving into stuff, in my glass I poured the infamous Mad Elf from Troegs. And what did you pour over there, man?
I poured the Fresh Hop Ale.
That's another scratch.
Yeah, scratch number 265.
So is that the latest scratch? What number are y'all up to?
I think we're at 270.
270.
Yeah, we just released a mango IPA yesterday.
Mango IPA, that'd be
Dude,
good.
anything with mango, I'm there, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I like the mango.
Here, one thing real quick that I wanted to delve in on the first segment, but I, we get distracted. We drinking here. So tell me a little bit about the history of Troegs, if you know anything about that.
Couple things.
A couple things. So obviously you said, Pennsylvania, obviously.
Correct. Hershey, PA. We're founded by two brothers, Chris and John Troegner, who are in the building every single day, still there. We're independently owned and operated.
That's
it's just
awesome.
Chris and John.
And it was founded when?
1996 is when they started brewing, but we don't really count being established until 97 because that's when they sold their first keg. So we'll celebrate 20 years next year.
Wow. So, see, that's why
Are we invited to the party?
Absolutely.
So Troegs is one of those names, obviously in the world of craft beer, it's been around for a while. That's why you know it so well, even though it isn't in our, a lot of the Virginia ones, they're popping up left and right. Some of them have been around longer than other. It's blowing up so quick, but you guys have been a staple in PA so much that y'all are, I'm sure you're known all, countrywide at this point. You guys are everywhere, right?
We're in 10 states, including
10 states, okay.
plus DC.
Okay.
We go as far south as North Carolina, as far north as Massachusetts. We really try to focus on the Mid-Atlantic region. When John and Chris first opened the brewery, they really didn't even want to distribute outside of the central Pennsylvania market. And we grew pretty quickly. Philadelphia became a great option. And then it was, we'll only sell our beer within an hour and a half of the brewery. So we wandered down into the Baltimore area, over into Jersey, shortly thereafter, then Pittsburgh, and we opened the state of Connecticut in 2015, February 2015, actually. That's our newest state. Mm-hmm. And we had opened North Carolina the previous fall, but we hadn't started distributing in Asheville or the Outer Banks until this February.
So trying to keep it close, keep it fresh.
Absolutely. I mean,
that's important when it comes to beer.
Well, that's fresh beer is the best beer. That's sort of our motto. And once you start getting away from your home base, it gets a lot harder to sell, especially as we were talking before. Huge emphasis on local beer. Everyone wants to support their local businesses. Mm-hmm. And we're fortunate enough that people have enjoyed our beer for quite some time, and I think we've got a decent reputation for high quality and consistency.
Now I've never ventured down to, actually I did go to Hershey Park back when I was like 6 or something. Fortunately, I wasn't at Troegs and enjoying the beers there, but I know you said you were there just a couple years ago, Huck. You got in? Can you tell me?
Yeah, I got a great story.
You got a great story. Tell us a little bit about the place there, and let me hear. We
were coming back from Boston, and and whenever I travel, those who know me know that my travels are circular around beer. Mm-hmm. So I will plan a whole trip and where I'm going to stop, and where I'm going to drink. So we decided to stop on our way back from Boston. We came back on Monday, and we made sure that Troegs was going to be open. And so we spent the night somewhere nearby, I can't remember. There was beer involved. That's why I can't remember. So we get up in the morning, not early, head out, and we go. We have, using our mapping software, takes us to the original location of Troegs, which it was no longer at.
Oh, no.
So we're sitting
I
there.
gotta update that.
Yeah, we're sitting there and we're talking to these guys. They were wearing like blue handkerchiefs, and, about where it was. And they said, yeah, it was down this alley, but I didn't believe them. Guy looked like a sales guy. So anyway, I got back. I looked on the internet again. We found the location, and it's at Hershey Park. We know where that is. So we go over there. We pull in, and it's like 11:30 in the morning. They're just getting going. We walk in. We have a beer, and I look over, and there's like a cafeteria line. I'm like, oh, let's go get us some, hamburger or something. Well, we go over there, and what do they have? They have vats of cheese and pretzel bread. You can dip covered in butter. Then you can dip the cheese into the cheese. So we're like over there, all kinds of just luscious food. We haven't even touched on it. The food was amazing. So I go and I get a couple growlers and 2 or 3 bottles, and I put them in a box, and I take them out to the van, and I open up the back door of the van, and a box of bottles from Boston falls out of the van onto the parking lot. So I sit down, I pick up the box, and I start picking them up, and I get to looking, and 5 bottles. But none of them are broken.
None of them?
The tops came off.
Oh.
Well,
Well, you gotta drink that.
So I took those bad boys and threw them in the cooler in the water, and I covered up. And this stuff's running across the parking lot. I get everything reorganized back in there and close the thing, and I go in, have a couple more beers with the wife. I think we got a little tour of the brewery. Somebody showed us around. Paid our tab, we go out, and we get in, and my wife's like, get in the car to head out. I mean, of course, these were non-alcohol beers. And she goes, what are we drinking now? And I just popped the cooler up, and she goes, what's that? I'm like, well, we had a little accident. So we drove home very slowly and carefully that day. But no beer was wasted other than what watered the parking lot. So, but anyway, I'd recommend if you go to Hershey Park, you need to leave an extra day, or at least go have every meal over there. Have every afternoon happy hour. Yeah.
Troegs first, and then
go to the park. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we are only 3 stoplights down from the park.
That's
You can
pretty
see
convenient.
it from there.
Yeah,
I
about
like that.
I think it's roughly 7 million people visit Hershey Park every year, and I believe last year we thought we got about 500,000 visitors. So we've been in Hershey now for 5 years. Actually, this month, Chris and John started the brewery in Harrisburg, and in 2011 we moved to Hershey. We simply had just outgrown our other space. We didn't have the ability to expand there. We loved being in Harrisburg, but just as these things kind of happen, we ended up finding this wonderful, great space in Hershey, and we've been
Harris,
building ever
we're
since.
too successful
So
to
wait a
hang
minute.
out here anymore.
Wait a minute. So you're getting 13% of Hershey Park visitors, which craft beer is somewhere at 5 to 10%, depending on whose numbers you use. Right.
You
So
know what?
you're exceeding the goal right here.
We couldn't be happier with
Hershey
our location.
Park is getting 13% of Troegs visitors. That's what it
Now
is.
that's the kind of math sales guys.
So do
like.
you get to sell beer in the park?
We do, actually. We've been selling
Nice.
there for quite some time. In fact, I had heard, and I don't know if that was the case this summer. I don't know that everything's been tallied, but I believe a year or so ago, we were the best-selling beer in the park, outselling Yuengling and Bud Light. So that's something we
Shocker.
are proud about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know Yuengling's the oldest brewery and all, but come on.
Well, it's the biggest brewery in Pennsylvania, so bigger than us.
Well, then it's got to be there, right?
Absolutely.
But at least you're there. That's the thing.
Hey, we're there and we're loving it.
What is it? We were at Cigar City, and Disney sells their beer.
It goes back to the local thing,
Yeah.
all these establishments, the larger places, they're starting to see the craft beer movement. I think we're up to, it's almost 2 breweries a day are opening in the U.S. right now. And
But we need to get in the football stadiums. We're not really there yet.
Please.
Baseball's pretty good.
baseball's not bad. It's
We're getting a little bit of overwash of the, all the taps come from one place, even though some of them are crafty, but we're not getting the selection we did have. But someplace, I was in Brooklyn, that amazing selection of beer there.
I think the Mets. The Mets ballpark has a pretty great draft list. I know
54
Seattle
beers.
is pretty incredible. People are taking notice.
Hey, no doubt about it,
Got to
man.
give the
what's your-
people what they want.
What's your best-selling style? You're the sales guy.
Sure. Our best-selling year-round beer is Perpetual IPA. That beer's been with us
Good
in
beer.
our lineup now. Thank you.
Yeah.
For about 4 years.
Sipped on that yesterday or the other day, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
it's
good.
It's a tasty beer. I think we kind of have a nice juxtaposition with the IPA. We sort of tongue-in-cheek refer to it as an imperial pale ale because it's got the malt body of a pale. It's super bright, super clean, but we hop the hell out of it and have a nice dry hopping round of Cascade and Citra to lend some tropical fruit.
Well, the late hopping to me is the style of beer I like. You got a Stone who wants to throw it all in first, and it's very bitter, front end, back end. I like things later hopped and aroma hopped, so you're not getting all the bitterness. I mean, I like a little bitterness, but not like some of them are just overcome.
Well, I think where we really try to trend is balance. We try to find it with every single one of our beers. And let's face it, we're in the consumption game. We want people to keep drinking the beer. So it only works out better if the beer's crisp and clean.
I just poured more of the Mad Elf. He's laughing over here because I just poured more in my glass. So if we keep talking, you're not going to get much more of this afterwards. So
I think that if we're going to fight over beers, I'm going to end up with more because I have the Crowler.
Well, congratulations. But you were the one that was like, save me some.
Yeah, well, I'll find a Mad Elf.
You're sporting the Mad Elf shirt. But before we untap them, real quick, what's the latest and greatest of Troegs? You got something exciting coming up? I mean, what's something that...
There's always something exciting happening, but probably what happened most recently that we're super proud of and excited is we just unveiled what we call our Splinter Cellar. So our Splinter series is wood-aged beer. It either might be bourbon barrel-aged beer, or it might be virgin oak beer, or it might be beer that's in foeders.
Not Beechwood aged.
No, not Beechwood aged.
When you said Splinter beer, that came to mind.
Yeah, the treats that we're leaving behind for you guys came out of our Splinter series.
Nice.
The bourbon barrel aged Troganator and bourbon barrel aged Flying Mouflon.
There's not enough bourbon barrel beers in my opinion. I'll tell you that right now.
Well,
love it.
We have one that'll be releasing at the brewery. I don't know if it's going to make it into distribution, but it's a Russian Imperial Stout.
I'm just saying, I'll give you an address.
Perfect. Well, we'll have to get that actually because we have been sending out to Proper Credential Media.
Hey,
beer.
Yes,
that comes along.
I have 4 or 5 breweries that send me beer on the.
I think we
regs.
can. I think we can make that happen.
Add that on the list. Awesome.
Well, what's really cool about the Splinter series, and it actually ties into that beer that you're drinking.
The Mad Elf.
We released a beer called Wild Elf in July. So in our Splinter Cellar, we're going to have primarily wild fermented beers. So a lot of beers that are brewed with Brettanomyces. So they give that funky sort of barnyard aroma, but they're not really sour. And Wild Elf was a combination of about 6 vintages of Mad Elf, including the last batch we had brewed in Harrisburg about 6 years ago.
Nice.
And we blended all of those together. Some of the beer had been sitting in virgin oak, some had been sitting in bourbon barrels, some had been sitting in wine barrels. And we added them into about a 70 hectoliter foeder. We added a bunch of fresh cherries that were grown a county over from us.
Oh my god!
And then dosed it with Brettanomyces and let it set for 10 months.
That sounds amazing.
Then we packaged it and let it bottle condition for another 6 to 8 weeks. And the beer sold out so fast at the brewery we weren't able to get it out into distribution. But there will be more next year.
All right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for. I'm like, I need to get my hands on this.
I made Mad Elf twice. The first time was fine. It came out really nice. We did side by side, and people were being polite, but they still said wasn't that bad. The second time, I didn't get it fully fermented. So basically, what we had was a Mad Elf sherry.
Oh.
It was but people still drank it. It just was so sweet. It was like, am I having I'm drinking simple syrup here?
Those can be
Check
tough.
it out, man. He just showed me the picture of the barrel spot. He said there's 3 of those bad boys, man.
3
soaking it.
3
soaking it
400-liter foeders.
things are
So
huge.
they hold about 1,000 cases of beer each.
Yeah, we had these guys come into the thing with these foeder beers, but basically they were like bad beers. You mix your own, but we did that show on that.
Yeah, whatever.
It's crazy. But the foeder thing's going crazy, right? Everybody's doing it.
It is. So we, the Wild Elf was, it was aged in 70 hectoliter foeders. I think we got those about 2 years ago. or 18 months ago. And so we had 3 of those, and those were playing around on a smaller level. We've been actually experimenting with wild beers and oak-aged beers for about 10 years. They just have never made it out into distribution because the quantities were so small.
Doesn't the foeder actually contribute?
It does. It adds
it's got some of its own stuff in it there.
Yeah, the wood, you want, it's a delicate process because you want to make sure that there are a lot of different flavors that don't outweigh one or the other, and they each add a little something to the beer. The wood might add a little toasted coconut. I mean, there's definitely
everybody likes a little wood.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're not going to like it if we keep this segment going because I'm going to keep pouring this Mad Elf.
Yeah,
in
we
my glass.
better cut it off.
We got to untap it.
You go first.
I will happily go first, dude. This Mad Elf. I know that you're obviously a fan. You're sporting the Mad Elf shirt over
My
there.
favorite long sleeve shirt.
For those that don't know, the Mad Elf, it's brewed with the honey and the cherries once a year. It's a seasonal. It's freaking delicious.
What's the APV on that?
11%.
That's what I was. That's actually that is a big point, and that's why I think that's why I've been feeling pretty good in this segment.
Your show's going to be good today.
I haven't even been talking.
Later.
Y'all just
The
been
rest of
running.
your
So
show's
I'm
gonna
just
be
like
great.
sip, sip, sip. No, man, this is really just delicious.
Oh, thank
I
you.
mean, the notes are amazing. It's so smooth. Oh my gosh, I can't even put together a sentence. It's so good. But for real, and this isn't blowing smoke. Y'all could be back in Pennsylvania, and this beer is a solid 5. I'm not just doing that. I'm not a score whore like him. He's going to give that a 5, even if he hated it, just because.
I'm going to give it a.
I can tell you right now, this is a 5. I wish it could go above 5, man. This is a 5.5. This is a 5. This is a 17 right here, man. This Mad Elf. If you've never had it, of course, if you've had it, you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't had it, you got to get yourself some Mad Elf in your hands this season for sure. Freaking delicious.
Well, thank you. We just released it. It'll be available up to the holidays. It's our once-a-year holiday ale.
And sometimes they have last year's at the Vintage Cellar. So if you want to try to compare.
Does it hold up?
Yeah, it holds up pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, we think about 3 years.
I saved when I make them. I usually save the year and then because it takes a while to make. It takes like 2 months to make that thing because it's such high gravity. But I'll move on. I've got the fresh hop ale. And 6.5%.
So not quite as big of a boy, but
no, but it's nice. It's really light colored. It's less colored than the previous pale ale. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you call me. I'm not going to give it a 5. I'm going to 5.1. No, I'd give it a 5. It's a good beer.
Nah, it's great.
I would like to be polite when I have guests in any case. And I always score high for guests, but in this case, I don't even have to do that. I'm not even pulling that card. I'm like, this is just really good beer they brought.
It's really true. People aren't going to believe us. They're thinking we're kissing ass.
Well,
Troegs,
what people can do.
If you drink Troegs, then y'all just make good beer, man. I mean, it's true.
Well, thank you. We like to.
You've been around that long for a reason.
Well, we like to brew beer that we like to drink, but we hope everybody enjoys drinking as much as we do. And we've been fortunate to grow as big as we have, and we just really appreciate all the support everybody gives us.
Well, for some reason, even before you got distributed here big time, occasionally I would go into Kroger and there'd be one 12-pack of that pack you're talking about or another one. One. There's always one, and I'd always buy it. So every year I'd get at least one.
Yeah.
And when I go up north to Baltimore, wherever, I usually buy a 12-pack of your beer while I was up there.
Well, thank you.
Word. Well, hey, fellas, I really appreciate y'all coming in and bringing all the beers. Delicious stuff. If you're ever in Pennsylvania, or if you want to make a road trip around it, be like Huck, make a road trip around going to visit
Around it,
Troegs.
you got to go there.
Maybe you can stop by Hershey Park if you got enough
If you
time.
go into like Ohio, you can go through Pennsylvania.
Yeah, why not? Right?
Go up 81. We love 81.
But,
Absolutely, as long as the trips are built around beer, just like Huck does. And
Right.
come see us. We're
Road
open.
trip.
We're open 7 days a week. We do tours 7 days a
Can
week.
I park
but-
the beer V there in camp?
Sure. If it's just you, absolutely.
Just you.
Me and the wife.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's Brewsday Tuesday. Thanks again to the guys from Troegs and Huck, as always. I appreciate you coming in,
DreZ.
my man. And, of course, I appreciate our sponsor, the Fatback Soul Shack. If you like a good craft beer with some damn good food to go with it, you got to be sure to swing by the Fatback Soul Shack right off I-81, exit C.
We'll see if we can get some Troegs on tap over there.
118C. See, I'm not even talking. I said the thing wrong. This is good beer.
118.
118C off I-81.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, thanks,
my
guys. It's been a pleasure being here. We appreciate it.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll get back to the rock right after this on 105.3 The Bear.